Welcome to our daily Forex market analysis, and this is for trading on March the 12th, 2020. Just a quick disclaimer here before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. All right, so as usual, we'll start off by taking a look at our calendar here. So today was quite a wild day in the markets. Few things, different things happened. First of all, we had Bank of England. They did a surprise cut, went from 0.75 to 0.25, so 50 basis point cut from Bank of England. And then we also saw UK announce their package to deal with coronavirus. So that was another thing. So they did both fiscal policy and monetary policy today. And then we also had, on top of that, we had Treasury Secretary Mnuchin. He was testifying in front of the Congress. So it appears that US is also going to announce a package to deal with coronavirus. So overall, there were a lot of things like that that came into the market, but looks like market is still concerned. And actually, World Health Organization has now said that coronavirus is now a pandemic, and we are seeing more of a spread of coronavirus around the different countries. So let's dive into what we have coming up. Now, we do have President Trump speaking this evening. And then coming up on Thursday here, we have ECB. So we have seen most of the central banks or most of the G7 countries have already announced their packages, and they have done interest rate cuts. ECB hasn't done that. So we'll see what ECB comes up with. If they do a cut, then we could see euro drop as a result of that. But we'll have to keep an eye on this. That's the major here. We also have some PPI numbers coming up here. But at this point, everything is basically sentiment-based more so than data-driven at this point. So we really need to watch what's going on in the market and the market sentiment. So let's go on to the charts here, and we'll see what happened. Starting off with euro dollar here. So we saw price go and test this 1350, slightly higher than 1350 here, and now we have a big pin bar here. Bias is bearish. I'm looking for price to drop further into 1.1220 level, and then potentially lower into 1.1170. So bearish bias here for euro. Pound here, we did see a drop. It pulled back nicely and then dropped. Our bias here is to the downside again, and looking for a further drop in here. So I would look for a potential pullback into 1.2880, and then looking for a drop back into 1.2740. So bias here is bearish for pound dollar as well. Aussie dollar here, we saw a drop in this one as well. Price is sitting right into support, so we do need to be careful with this one. But once price breaks through the support, looking for a continuation to the downside. So bias is bearish here, and I would look for something like this. In this case, the target is 0.6350 and then 0.6320 as well. So bearish bias for Aussie dollar. New Zealand dollar, we saw a pin bar here as well. Price did push up, and then we have seen a big drop here, or we have a big pin bar here. So looking for price to drop further into 0.6190 here into base of this candle. So bias is bearish for New Zealand dollar. So we have seen a recovery in US dollar. Now, especially with the market turning more negative, we are seeing US dollar act as safe haven again. And then dollar CAD here, we see price has gone all the way into the resistance level here, still trading in this range that we have been, that we were looking for yesterday. So at this point, we need to see if it's going to go through this level, or are we going to see a move back into our support, back into the range here. So if it does go through, we could see it go into 38 all the way into 38.80, which will be the target. For now though, I'm looking for a reaction at the high here. So if it holds below this level, then we could see price come back into the range. At this point, bias is bullish, but I would be cautious with this resistance level because price could drop from here. Let's take a look at commodities here. Silver did go up, but it has closed in a bearish territory. Bias is bearish here. 16.50 is the first target, and then we're looking at 16.37. So bearish bias for silver. Gold dropped here as well, and bias is still bearish. Now we are into support, so keep that in mind. But looking bearish here, next target is 1624 and then 1611. But if it holds above 1634, this one could go back up all the way into 1670. So keep that in mind. If the markets become too volatile, this one could go up as well. But for now, bias is bearish. Oil here, oil did try to go higher, but it has closed lower, still looking bearish here. First target is 30.30 and then 27.80. So bias is bearish for oil. Copper here, a big drop in copper as well. It has resumed its bearishness here. 2.40 is the first target, 2.37 is the second target for copper. And then we have Bitcoin. Bitcoin still trading in a range, in this range here. Right now, I'm neutral on this, looking for it to trade between 82.60 and 76.30 here. And if it holds above this, it could start going back up. But for now, just neutral here. All right, equity markets here. S&P 500, it couldn't go through the resistance here, and we are back into the support levels. And we see that the yen actually hasn't done as well compared to the drop we have seen in the equity markets. So keep an eye on intervention from Bank of Japan in terms of trying to keep the currency supported. So they may be selling yen. So for this one here, bias is bearish. Now we are into support, so be careful with this one. If it doesn't break through the support, it could go back up into the range. For now though, looking bearish here in terms of our targets. We're looking at 26.75 and then 26.20. So bearish bias for S&P 500. Nasdaq here, this one's looking bearish as well. We'll look for a pullback into 81.20 and then a drop back into 78.50. Now this will be our support. So if price doesn't go through this level, it can go back up. And should it go through though, next target is 77.50. So right now, this is looking bearish. And then we have Dow Jones looking bearish here as well. Watch out for this for President Trump's speech. We may get some volatility in the market around that. But right now, this is looking bearish. Next target is 22,700. And then DAX here, this one's looking bearish as well. All the equity markets basically were bearish today. And in this case, in terms of our targets here, I'm looking at 10,000 essentially for DAX. So bearish bias there. FTSE also dropped in spite of the package that was announced. Market just did not go really into the buying mode here. Next target is 57.30, and then we're looking at 56.50. So bias is bearish for FTSE. And then Nikkei here, Nikkei is looking bearish as well. But if price holds above this 19,000 here or 18,900, it could go back up. So that's something to keep an eye on. But for now, bias is bearish here. And in terms of our targets, we have to go back now. Next target is 18,620. And then below that, we have 18,500. So bias is bearish for Nikkei as well. So that's it for now. I would expect volatility in the market and just keep an eye out for comments and that type of stuff, because right now market is very much sentiment driven, and anything that changes the sentiment is likely to cause volatility in the market. So that's it for today. Have a great trading day, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.